From then on, I
Oh.
felt like this guy had it out for me. It was the strangest thing.
How do you ask questions without sounding like a gold digger?
He still managed to be handsy on the date.
He's not going to stop doing that. That's who he is.
Welcome to Secrets from a Billionaire's Matchmaker with matchmaker Gina Hendrix.
Hey ladies, I'm Gina Hendrix. All right, now I'm going to open on some thoughts. I woke up yesterday morning wanting to shout it from the rooftops all of a sudden, I don't know why, about how my origin story of how this came to be. Doing this 18 years, matchmaking, created my business literally out of thin air, invented myself. I'd always been a great connector, but people don't really know the real origin story. And really what transformed my business was that when I was just starting out, struggling, to try to get clients, I was running into all these men that were like broke. They wanted to date, essentially, they wanted to date hot women, but they didn't want to, spend money. Imagine that logic. It still cracks me up. And they were just trying to just wear me down about the price. And it was just awful. What can I say? It was awful. And then I had this epiphany that I always, because I had been a celebrity fashion stylist for 10 years, I always had access to gorgeous women. And those gorgeous women always ran with the richest men, the coolest people, the billionaires, the celebrities, all this stuff. So then I started brainstorming, did research, and I compiled my little list, my wish list, I like to call it, of clients that I wanted. And these were some of the most eligible men in Los Angeles at the time, although they all kind of had homes around the world. And when I would go and meet with the women that I knew, I would get out my little list at the end. I would say, hey, by the way, do you know any of these men? And I'd show them the list. They'd lean in and they'd go, oh, yeah, I know him. And they'd point. And then they knew a whole bunch of others that I hadn't even thought of, that I hadn't even heard of. So I had all these lists and they trusted me with these men's private cell numbers. And I made the promise to them that I would never reveal how I got the number. And I never did. It was everything to me, and it was a game changer. And I'd cold call these billionaires, and I'd get so nervous. I was a nervous wreck every time. I had to so psych myself up. I had to have my right pen. I had to dress a certain way. I mean, I was just making phone calls, but I really had to psych myself up for it, And I did it, and I did it for a number of years. So, this went on in the very beginning. Okay. 2010 is when I started my business. 2008. Cold calling started 2010, and I did it probably until about 2016. And this was before, how our phones are just blown up right now with spam stuff. This was before that. So these men were shocked that I was calling them on their cell number, and it made them, say how did you get my number? I'd say, it's just the one thing I can't tell you, but I would love to tell you about my business. I'm a matchmaker, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Here's the thing. This is where it circles back to you and your dating life, okay? Because it's all about taking leaps of faith, That's why I'm telling you this, because the number one thing I see holding women back in their dating lives is the same thing that would have held me back from making those phone calls if I had let myself, is waiting. Right? Waiting, procrastinating. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it someday. Oh, I can't call those guys. Waiting to feel ready, waiting to lose weight, or waiting to clarity, or waiting for him to show. You guys keep making excuses, but truth is nobody's coming to save you. Nobody was coming to save me. Not in my business, not in love. The women who find exceptional men are the ones who decide to go and get it. All right? And they're unstoppable. That's how I see people finding love. That I feel like, honestly, and I was thinking about this beyond even this conversation, that the people that I have seen get into relationships, if I'm being super honest, and if you're being super honest with yourself, I think the people who get into relationships are those who are determined to be in relationships. And those who remain single they act like they want it. They say they want it, but I don't know. Do they really want it? I'm not really sure. All right. So if you want to find love, you got to jump in with both feet. Okay. So that's that. All right, Suzanne, hello. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm 61, but on the dating apps, guys don't want to meet women that are 61. So I've changed my age like to 58. One guy got really pissed off, and I said, you know what? I'm going to put my age because if somebody doesn't want to meet someone my age, they're not going to be the right one for me. But I must say that there's just not a lot of guys out there. And even a friend of mine, he said, I'm sorry, I just want to go out with girls that are 45.
I know that there are certainly men who want to date women around their age, but it's few and far between, just like exceptional people are few and far between, but they are out there. So first of all, it all comes down to mindset. I would try to stay in the right frame of mind and stay as positive as you possibly can. And I get that it's challenging, but I think you could, and I don't see an issue with this. I would go back to lowering your age to like 58, just so it is a little under 60. It's unusual. I will say it's highly unusual that one man got upset. And don't let one sampling of one man like reroute your whole plan that you're doing. But one way to do it is you just come clean in your bio. All pictures recent as of whenever, like July 2026 or whatever they are. And then you need to, at the very end, say actual age 61. Yeah, don't let that man, no, please. I don't, even if there were 5 men that got upset, that's 5 men out of an endless amount. But again, I think the one thing I tell all you ladies is just when you're doing the dating apps, and I do love it, it's a great resource, but you have to know you're looking for a needle in the haystack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So the majority are automatically going to be ruled out. Automatically. Boom, boom, boom. And then the search for the needle continues. Make sense?
It does. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, Tiffany.
I was just curious, like, what are the top 2 or 3 qualities or characteristics your clients ask you for, like typically over and over and over?
I mean, I think there's a lot of nuances and it probably varies from client to client. But I think if there's a theme, can be at least 1 or 2 things is similar to what you ladies want. You know, you want somebody who's sane. You want somebody who's fun to be with, easy to be with. I will say maybe the men who want to date women, and if we're talking specifically older, like let's say 55 and up, maybe those men who want to date a woman around their own age also want a woman who has as much money as they have. Whereas maybe a guy who wants to date younger, he understands that it just ain't gonna happen. So there's that. It's an interesting kind of observation. And then I think beyond that, they want somebody who's just really in a good place. They're happy with their life. I think the younger guys who are still
Okay.
starting families, those guys, those younger ones, they want a woman who's got a great career, ambitious, those things.
Okay, great.
All right. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Karen. Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My question to you is, could I have pre-qualified better? Now, I left the date. Did I have a great time? Was it fun? No, it was just like deep. Oh my God, I'm like so invested in this guy's stories. I mean, his wife died and dog died and the mother died. And I'm like,
My
oh
God.
my God. So it was just like so heavy. So I kind of redirected and I said to him very lightly, so what is it that you're looking for? And he got like, well, I'm not looking for marriage. So if that's what you're looking for, this is not it. And we were in the middle of dinner. And from then on, I
Wow.
felt like this guy had it out for me. It was the strangest thing. Could I have done something differently in the pre-qualifying? And I don't know. I'm really still scratching my head.
Right. And here's the thing. You don't know until like these scenarios come up and we workshop it and walk through it. So it's like, I think of like when I'm on the phone with somebody. So, especially if a guy is a widower, right? You
Mhm.
want to say when you have him on the phone, you want to say, and this is what I would say. I would say, because I'm going to keep pulling the thread until the cuff on his shirt comes off and it's dangling around his hand. And I say this because I've actually done that in person. Anyway, and so I would say, so how long ago did your wife pass away? And then have you dated much, right? I'm gonna keep peeling that onion and
Mhm.
get those answers before I ever get on the date with him. Because,
Yes.
so when you did get on the call with him, what were you guys talking about?
Oh, what is it like you like to do with your free time on a Saturday? We did talk about like when I knew he was a widower because he was very upfront about that.
Right,
So
right.
I did find out like, so when did she pass away? But I realize now it was just what I normally ask people. And maybe I need to go back and refine my questions a little bit.
I mean, you did nothing wrong, right?
Yeah.
You didn't do anything wrong. The only thing maybe that you could have like kind of pulled the thread a little more on the call to
Yeah.
kind of unearth another side of his personality that he was kind of glossing over. So, there's pre-qualifying that we have to do at every phase and stage, right? There's one way of
Yeah.
pre-qualifying when we're looking at the profiles initially. He passed that test. And then the messaging, your back and forth cha-cha-cha, as I like to call it, that was
Hmm.
also really good too. There's also the pre-qualifying phase of the call, and
Hmm.
maybe you skip some steps. But even when we go on these dates, 1, 2, 3, 4, blah blah blah, all the way up into relationships, you should definitely continue to pre-qualify. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
so who's to say if you went back in time and you pulled the thread a little more in the conversation, if you could have like poked the bear and seen this other side of him, or
Hmm.
he would have just blown it off, but then maybe that would have also raised a red flag for you to say, yeah, he was kind of weird like that. I don't think I want to go out with him, you know?
Right. Right. Right.
Erin Marie.
I got Invisalign for about
Oh,
a year.
okay.
So it'll be over. My bottom teeth will be fixed by the end of next year. Granted, I can take them off during a date, but if I get into a relationship with someone, is that weird to have Invisalign and be dating? I don't know.
Not weird. And it's so kind of mainstream these days. I also don't think there's really any stigma with the Invisalign. I think you're really overthinking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So take it out during dates and then eventually tell them I have Invisalign. I mean, we
course,
end up
yeah.
spending the day together and go hiking, or I don't know. Like I have to
No, trust me, no big deal.
Okay, Debbie, you have your hand up.
I am financially secure, so I don't need,
Yeah.
I'm not a gold digger. But how do I, when I'm looking at the dating apps and I look at what they do for a living, if I think that whatever their job title is a low salary one, then I won't even look at them because I don't want to be in a position where I'm going to be taking them out to dinner. How do you do that or ask questions without sounding like a gold digger?
So I would just start asking questions about their lifestyle. I guess whatever's important to you. So here's what's going through my head when I'm, thinking of qualifying someone. I want to know, are you somebody who eats out a lot? Where do you like to go? I want to find out what somebody's lifestyle looks like. Do you travel a lot? And if you do, where do you go? What are some of the places you stay? And it doesn't have to sound like, any kind of like a 60 minutes interview type thing or a Dateline interview. But you can just weave in those questions. Like, like being naturally curious will go a long way.
Okay. And then what do you do if like I went out on a date with one person who told me that he doesn't have a mortgage, it's all paid off. He bought a second piece of property down south and plans on putting up a home there. He does pool sales, but he works 7 days a week during the summer. But then that's it. Then he doesn't work during the winter.
So that's your answer.
And
You already know the answer, Debbie.
yeah, and he also made a comment about how he's very frugal.
Well, there you
So
go, Debbie. Come on. He's like he's laid it out for you, my darling. You've got to pay attention. This is where, when somebody's like being honest, that's a gift. And, he's telling you these things so but for some reason you're trying to reframe his story in your mind. I think so, and here's the thing. It's not for me to tell any of you what kind of guy you should choose, but I'm just trying to guide you as best I can, knowing what I know about men and men with money and men who don't have money and whatever you want. So I'm sort of the oracle here. Like, you tell me what you're looking for, I'll tell you if this is the right. And this guy, I feel, is still grinding and hustling. And I don't think, from what you've told me, that you don't want a guy that's going to be grinding and hustling, because it sounds like that's where he's at still.
all
Okay.
right, thank you.
Sure. Welcome. Hey, Siri.
I was curious what the secrets are that men share with you after the first call or first date when they meet someone?
They'll usually tell me things like she looked like her pictures or she was prettier than her pictures, because I think everybody is so concerned with how are they going to present when they show up, right? So I think everybody kind of, men tell me that, women tell me that, and that's like, oh, thank God. And then I think it's more about, did somebody launch into their private deep dark secrets? You know what I mean? And hopefully that's not the case, or they'll say, she was really interesting. We had a lot in common. We had a lot to talk about. I think when people are attracted to each other and the conversation flows and is easy and you have things in common, I think that's naturally going to be an obvious, yes, let's go on a second date.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, Sherry. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Can you chat with me for a minute?
When we had our video call, I just kind of walked away feeling something. So I asked for a second video call because I wanted to address this kind of weird feeling. To a second call, and I didn't like it. And then here's the big thing. I asked the same question again about long term, like, is he looking to remarry? This time was different.
Oh, see, I'm glad you asked it again. Sometimes it does take a couple of times to shake the fruit from the tree.
Well, that's the weird thing. Well, I broke up with my boyfriend last year, June, because he did the same thing.
Right. Ask it a couple times and see. I mean, and you guys can do the same thing if a guy puts on his profile about, wanting kids or open to kids, whatever the line is, open to kids. You can even mention it there as well and see, and ask it twice. I think that's a good reminder for all of us. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Thanks.
You're catching on. I love it.
Thanks. Trying.
Hey there. How are you? How'd the date go?
That was interesting.
We did nickname this guy the handsy guy.
Yeah, so he still managed to be handsy on the date.
He's forward and he's not gonna stop doing that. That's who he is.
Because even when we were texting a little bit throughout the week, I had mentioned I like to take things slower and really get to know someone, and I feel like he kind of ignored that.
What did he say when you actually texted him that?
He was like, yeah, I agree.
Well, but what did he say that prompted you to even text him that?
He was just getting flirty. Just oh, I can't wait to kiss you again. I can't wait to see you.
Well, but you said he ignored it.
He ignored it in person.
Right. So the rest of the story is?
So basically on the date, we were just snuggling on a couch in front of the fire, and he still managed to touch my butt and boobs.
Yeah. So he's a guy that's not listening to your boundaries.
I feel like I should have stopped it in the moment.
Well, you should have absolutely stopped it in the moment, but you also told him in advance. So, so I'm not saying you can't see him again, but you shouldn't see him again.
Right.
Because he's already told you a couple of times now. You've told him.
So how do I reject him? And
I would say for now, do nothing. And then when he follows up to try to ask you out again, just say, hey, handsy guy, whatever his name is, just say, I got to thinking about this more and I'm just looking for somebody that really respects my boundaries. And I've told you several times that, I like to go a little slower and you touch me and it feels inappropriate to me. I mean, man, I don't know. Now, I don't know if you can say this. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe the best way out of this, okay, hang on, I'm building the plane in real life here, right? As we fly it. Because all that stuff's the truth, but honestly, I don't know that you owe him all this. I think we fib a little, right? And we let his ego, off the hook and he doesn't have to worry, Has he texted you since the date?
Yeah, he was like, thanks, I had a wonderful time. And I said, me being the people pleaser, polite woman, I said, thank you, I had a wonderful time too. So
why don't you do this? You know what I mean? But here's what you could say, in a couple of days, and I would stop answering his text and stuff. And because this will make more sense. So in 2 days, you could say, hey, John, Fred, Ted, Larry,
I actually went on a second date with someone last night, and we just
Mm,
have a ton of things in common, and I just really feel like there's a stronger connection that I want to pursue with him before going out with anybody else again.
got it.
Boom. And that's
Yeah.
going to be the easiest way. And then you don't have to get into all that other nonsense that I was leading you into.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay? And you can say that.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right, thanks. Next question.
There we go. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm kind of keeping a low profile on the dating.
Why's that?
I don't know. I'm just sick of it.
And why are you sick of it then?
There's just no decent guys for me. I mean, maybe it's my age. I don't know, but it just, they're living in other states, or they're scammers, or it just is an odd kind of a thing. It seems like the men that I'm kind of interested in are not interested in me, and vice versa. It's a weird dynamic.
Well, I think a lot of women feel that way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So you're not alone. But the thing is, even if one turned up that was a good one in a month, that's a win. You've got to continue to rinse and repeat the formula. And with the goal being, hey, I realize that in the real world, I am not meeting anybody ever, and it's been years. And now it's time to do something different. So I'm going to follow Gina's formula to the letter, even if it means I keep not finding anybody. But I believe, and you got to believe all this stuff that I'm teaching you because it is the truth, that it's the best place to find him, but I've got to stick with the strategies. So that way you keep a toe in the water so that if it is a month or 2 months, you're at least there. And I'm telling you, it's just a better road if you want to meet someone than real life. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't try real life. I think you should, but I think you can't give up on all these other alternatives as well.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Thank you.
Great, sure. You're welcome. All right, so Nancy, we'll take your first question.
I went on a blind date. I was visiting my sister in Virginia, and I was there for 2 weeks. So in my local church, they have like a family ministry for singles. So I went on a blind date with this guy. I think it went really well. The second date, we went to Vineyard, and then one day, he was like, "Nancy, do you feel the chemistry?" And then he was saying that, like, for his next relationship, he wants to hear the voice of God. He wants it to be God sent. He was like, "I'm praying, but I'm not hearing His voice." And this was over messaging, so I was like, "Let's jump on a conversation." And then I was like, "What do you mean by chemistry?" Like, he didn't really pinpoint. I was like, "Is it physical? Is it mental? Is it emotional? Is it intellectual? Like, what kind of chemistry are you looking for? We just met like twice." He didn't really pinpoint it, and then eventually he said spark, and I was like, "Oh, that chemical thing that doesn't last."
I mean, the thing is, Nancy, for whatever reason, he's just not into you enough. That's it. They'll dance around it. They'll use other terms. But you know what? Men are either hot for you out of the gate or they're not for you out of the gate. And women, we can become more attracted to somebody.
Right.
But men cannot. And they just can't. I mean, you might find the one random guy who says, "Oh, I can't, well, really? Okay, because not in my experience." But good for him. But most of the time, nothing's going to change. He's not going to develop. He's not like a woman in that way. He's not going to develop feelings. He's not going to become more attracted. And so I think this guy's doing you a complete favor by, telling you this. And now it's your, opportunity to say, "Thank you so much. Great meeting you. I'm not really looking for a friend," and move on. But
Right,
trying to
right.
talk them into it, that's a woman thing to do. And it's just never gonna, it's just futile. You know what I mean?
Right, right. But like, he's still in touch. And like, one day before I left, he was like, "Oh, do you want to meet up?" And then I was like, "My time's
He's
very limited."
selfish. He's
Yeah.
selfish, Nancy, and he's lonely.
Yes.
And he's,
Yes.
but I want you to be selfish, all right? And
Ah,
and you to look out for yourself, which is thank you, but no thank you. You know what I mean?
yes, yes,
Yeah, but
yes.
don't waste any more time on this guy.
Right, right. So, fair enough.
Cool. All right. Yeah, thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Tina, you've been very patient. Your hand must be tired. You've had it up a long time. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you, Gina?
Good.
The bottom line is that several of the guys, showed up, had a date, and then, disappeared. One of them I got to be friends with. I was able to ask him what it was, what changed, right? So he said, your life is bigger than mine.
Oh, interesting.
The
He
home,
didn't he didn't think he could maintain the lifestyle that you had.
right. The homes, the cars,
That's
what he
valid.
said.
That's valid.
Okay. So what do I do then, my dearest? What do I do? What do I say?
Well, I don't know if it's so your pictures are still like I set them up for you, yes?
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
changed a thing. I
Great.
haven't changed
Great.
a
That's
thing.
great. Now let me ask you though, in the early days of talking to them, even honestly, even chatting on the apps,
Yeah.
if I were you, I would not be so many people just want to chat about just boring crap. Like, and I think you need to go straight for like what's important to you, like
Yeah.
asking them things like, hey, so what exciting things have you been up to lately? And see what
Yeah.
they consider exciting. And if he says, whatever, I went to Taco Tuesday for Cinco de Mayo, or I don't know, and that's the
Yeah.
most exciting thing he's done lately, we have a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good one. I wish there was a way to ask them without hitting them over the head with it. What did you do for a living before?
I would just say, no, the hell, it's fine. Just say,
Yeah.
well, what industry were you in? I mean, most of the time, I do find, Tina, that men love to talk about what they did. They love to, if they had something interesting going on in their lives, if they have a career that they're proud of, they would love to talk about that. So, but again, you don't want to get into work talk either. So I think you could either be direct and say, hey, so so you're retired now. What did you used to do previously? I think it's a completely legitimate question. You're on a dating app. You're trying to see if you guys are compatible. I don't think those questions should be off limits. That's one way to do it. You could be very direct, or you could just really start asking about the lifestyle. Like, where do you know what somebody said to me so long ago, and I still laugh about it because that's not realistic for me. Like I'm in the grind working, and I certainly was back then. I was still just starting my business. But this guy that I went out with, oh my God, he said, so where do you summer? And I'm like, well, where do I summer? Like, do you know what that means, Tina?
Yeah, I sure
Of
do.
course you do. See, because you run in the, and of course I do now, but I was early days of my business, and I saw where do I summer? In my 1-bedroom apartment in Burbank, grinding out, trying to get the business going. That's where I summer. So I think you could throw things like that out too, like these terms that only people who do that stuff would know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a very good idea. All right, Gina, it's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Francine, you are my last lady. What's going on?
Hi, Gina.
Soon as I heard your voice, I know exactly who you are. Now, Francine, you are the woman that I was telling to like not get so invested in these guys on these calls and this, right? Because wasn't that
Correct.
one guy like he called you and you couldn't grab the phone quick enough and then you tried again? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yes.
So where are we at with all that?
Well, I left that alone. It's all mindset. So you have to get your mindset and so that's a work in progress right there. Work in progress. But the reason why I need to like work on my mindset is like, I'm starting to feel that I'm meant to be alone. But like if I think that, then of course it will come. But my quick question is, I reached out to a gentleman a couple days ago. The first question is, do you like kissing? Why would that be your first question? So that made me think that he was a pervert. So like I right away unmatched him. So do you think I jumped the gun?
I'm going to say you jumped the gun.
Okay.
I think so, because here's the thing. Here's what you got to know, ladies. Men are idiots. Like, okay, granted, when he said that, that would have kind of like, kind of made me go, where's this going to go? Right. But I would have at least kind of said to myself, where's this going to go? And kind of have given a little more wiggle room. You know what I mean? To kind of see where it would go rather than have like a knee jerk reaction. You know what I mean?
Okay. Got you.
Yeah. All right. So is that your question? Did I get you sorted out?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. So you ladies have the best questions. You ladies kill me, crack me up, and I wouldn't have it any other way. All right. So that's going to wrap it up for tonight, but I want to leave you guys with this. All right. Just reminding you,
Ain't nobody coming to save you. Not in love, not in life. The women who find exceptional men, the women who build exceptional lives are the ones who stopped waiting and started doing. Jump into the pool with both feet, ladies. So whatever came up for you tonight, whether it's something you heard in someone else's question or something you're still sitting with on yourself, do not sit on it. Do not sit on the sidelines. Take the next step, make the move. Okay? Get on the apps. Say yes to the date. Ask him the pre-qualifying questions you need answers to. Do the thing. All right? Timing's never perfect. Never. But the women who wait for perfect timing are going to end up waiting forever. It goes for everyone, not just women. So if you want my hands-on help with your dating strategy, your photos, your profile, all of it, the entire pie, as I like to call it, not one thing, not two things, but the entire thing, then just email me, teamgina@ginahendrix.com, and you can ask me about the 1 in a million woman advantage. And that is where the real work and transformations happen. All right. So you guys are also fantastic. I'm lucky to know you, lucky to talk with you. Keep your standards high, ladies.
Want to keep up with more of Gina's advice? Follow her on TikTok and Instagram at Matchmaker Gina Hendrix or visit her matchmaking website, ginahendrix.com.